we all rolling there, ladies? Good?
It's promised to make up.
Beautiful.
About it.
Alright, so we'll start at 3, 2, 1. I don't even look at the cameras, I'm looking at you, it's just, right? Obviously, it's been a while since we've been talking about this, so I think it's long overdue.
Yeah.
Amos, good to have you in.
Good to see you.
Yes, sir. So I've been seeing your name for a long time in real estate, ever since I've been in it.
Yeah.
How long have you been in real estate and how'd you get started?
Oh, geez. Well, I started as a commercial appraiser, real estate appraiser, years ago, back in 2003.
Wow.
And appraised for about 10 years, and I went from appraising commercial real estate all the way from farms to master plan communities to biosphere. So from that to decide to buy a portion of realty executives in town
Oh, wow.
and start selling. So I've been selling for about 12 years now.
Interesting. How has that background of being an appraiser helped you in your duties now as a listing agent and buyer's agent?
Yeah, well, I mean, as from a listing side, I really enjoy working with sellers. I feel very at home
Yeah.
when it comes down to valuing the property and dealing with how far we can push the value.
Of course.
And, for the last, since I've been doing this, I've been about 23 appraisals that I overturn for my clients. So when they come in below value, and if I have a chance to show it, I'm going to find the issues on the appraisals and talk to the lender, talk to the appraiser, and we'll figure out what was missing. And then a lot of times, I mean, so far all of them, we're able to turn over and get sold, get it reappraised at a full price, and get sold. So that's good. Good for the lenders.
Yeah.
Good
no,
for the sellers and the
Right.
buyers. Everybody gets to go with a home closed or sold. So that's good.
So that was 23 appraisal reports that you've overturned?
That's right.
Out of how many? How many have you had, do you think? in your-
23 that came back with some issues, like, the house isn't appraised for the value or some
Sure.
other issues.
Interesting. Good. What do you think your favorite part of your job is?
Well, I think that's part of it, is figuring out how far we can realistically push the value of a property. What can we do to raise the value of a property before it goes on the market? Being honest with the sellers and the buyers about it, especially sellers. What can be done to this house to raise the price, or the reality of what it will take to get the home sold so it doesn't sit on the market. We've been in a great market in the last 3 years.
We have.
Things just fly off the shelf.
We have.
But even then, I think we're going to start seeing some more sensitivity in the prices coming into the second half of 2022.
So where do you see the market going in 2022? Do you think that it's going to become more of a buyer's market over time here, and we're going to see some stabilization in values, or?
Yeah, I think we have a long time to go, because if you look at the inventory, right now we're putting out into the market about, say about 1,000 homes a month going into the market, active listings, but 1,200 sell. So we're still in a negative inventory coming in.
Yeah.
In a stable market, you're looking at 6 months of inventory for a stable market.
Sure.
We are in 1 month of inventory, so we have a long ways to go before we get to any kind of a stabilized level. I think, but rates have been going up a little bit.
Yeah.
Not enough to make a real dent.
Well,
But yeah, what do you see for rents, for interest rates?
Well, I think, just based off of the Fed's comments, the Fed's planning to raise the Fed funds rate 3 times throughout the course of this year. And I know that we were kind of looking at like a buy now scenario or cost of waiting scenario. And if you're looking at a 30-year fixed right now, you're looking right at 3.875. I think the average home price in Pima County is around $425?
Yeah.
So if you are putting 20% down at that 3.875% rate, your principal and interest payment is going to be a little bit less than $1,600 every month. And I think that we're going to see rates stabilize closer to 4.5% throughout the course of this year. We've been seeing a pretty rapid increase in rates since the beginning of the year to date. And let's just say that rates go to 4.5% for that same scenario. Someone looking at a $425,000 house. Principal and interest on that 4.5% interest rate, they're looking at about $1,720. So just if they wait 6 months, their payment's going to go up, a little less than $130 every single month for that same exact house.
And I think what you're going to see some impact based on what you're saying is that I think what I'm seeing here in Tucson is that the local people are getting squeezed a little bit.
Yeah.
because they're competing with other buyers from out of town.
Mm-hmm.
But that, I mean, a little bit of a rise in rates will affect how much money they have to put on the house. So you might see long-term, maybe 6 months out, some downward pressure on pricing, but you know, if inflation's still going up, I think you're still going to see some price still moving up, and inventory is not getting fixed. So I think you might still see like a 5 to 7% increase in prices over this next 6 to 12 months. That's what I think is going to happen.
I think that that's right in line with what's being projected as of the beginning of this year. So that sounds pretty reasonable there.
So I tell buyers, by the way, every time, you know, say, why should I buy now?
Yeah.
And my belief is that if you're looking for a long-term play,
Right.
not like a 5-year and then an itch to move,
Sure.
but if you're looking at 10, 15, 20 years to stay in a property, you cannot lose by getting a loan today at these rates.
Of course not.
It's going to pay itself off.
Right.
The house will pay itself just by buying it now.
Of course.
But so that's what I'm seeing, and that's what I'm telling myself. If you're going to be there for a while, no brainer, even at these prices.
Right.
But if you're going to move a lot, then obviously you may want to consider it. What do you tell
Well,
your
I think that's such a benefit of working with a professional as yourself. You know, you're giving them more advice on their life and what they're looking to do moving forward, or if they're staying put, and you advise based off their scenario, right?
Yeah.
So, no, I'm in the same mindset. I mean, for us, I think I run through that same scenario that we just kind of went through, the cost of waiting with rising interest rates, and if prices continue to go up, I mean, that's a lot bigger of a number there in terms of higher monthly payment. So no, I think if the right opportunity comes to you and it feels right and you like it, pounce. I've got a couple clients who have said, no, Brogan, I'm going to wait until the real estate bubble bursts.
Yeah.
And I just don't, and I've done other videos on that, I just don't think that it's going to play out how a lot of people think it is.
Yeah.
It's not going to be falling off a cliff like it was in 2007, 2008, and now all these deals are going to become available. I mean, the active or the inventory in 2008, I think that there was like 3,700 homes for sale in 2008, and this was December's numbers. And I think that we were 970,000 in the whole month of December in the whole U.S.
Wow.
So I mean, that just goes to show it's not the same environment as it was back then.
Yeah, and every market, of course, is very unique. I mean,
Right.
we have a very strong market here in Tucson, but I think California will get hit harder as rates go up, and they're already kind of maxed out.
Yeah, of
basically.
course.
So it's interesting.
We'll see more Californians move to Arizona like we've been seeing.
Yeah.
I mean, all on the West Coast, we've had a lot of people relocate. So no, it's been interesting. It's been an interesting year for sure. In terms of this upcoming year, why use Amos Koren when buying or selling?
Well, I mean, like I said, I used to appraise real estate. I come in with a very honest view of what it would take to get a home sold.
Yeah.
And so far I was able to get my clients those results. We're talking about going into a listing, how to position the house so you can get the most offers in a reasonable time. And once we get an offer, how do we deal with negotiating the best terms?
Sure.
The minimal repairs that people always ask for sometimes, usually.
Yeah.
And so how do you deal with that? How do you deal with the step-by-step, getting the house set up to go, getting through multiple offers, getting through negotiating the best price and the best terms, and really protecting the seller so they don't get, a lot of times people will come in, make an offer, and then the seller has to be kind of put on the string for 30, 40 days, and then things fall apart, and then it's a lot of hurt for a seller.
Oh, of course.
So how do you protect the seller? How do you deal with the inspections? How do you deal with the appraisal? So far, again, able to overturn all of those.
Yeah.
And then go to the close and also make sure that everybody is in line and in check. So that's what I enjoy. I enjoy that making something happen and making everybody happy as possible.
Of course.
And getting it done on time. So.
Well, I think that, to avoid having a seller on the string and then after 30 or 45 days, things fall apart, like you mentioned, I think it's pretty important to align yourself with a strong lender, and we've been so grateful to be able to work with a professional such as yourself. What's really been your experience when dealing with the Dixon team?
Well, I mean, so far, and again, I used you guys personally on my personal properties.
Yeah.
And so, and I work with national lenders as well. I mean, and so you're not the least expensive lenders, but I think you're the best lender. Okay, and so when you're looking for value, You gotta put that in perspective. I'm not gonna save $1 here, but then lose the time and ability to pay, to talk to somebody on the phone, what
Sure.
to deal with.
Sure.
So when I've done deals with you in the past, if it's from buyers or my own personal property, I mean, my experience has been that I can pick up the phone and I get the lender I'm supposed to get, things get done on time.
Yeah.
And people know that if something doesn't get done on time, I get really upset and I call and I bug you until it gets done. Not you, but other lenders I work with. So I like that responsiveness.
Sure.
And I know that things will be done on time. That's the most important thing for me. So yes, you can always find somebody for less.
Yeah.
And we know that in my profession, your profession, but I'm looking for value, and that's, to me, that's the most, and timing and performance, that's what I care about.
Yeah, no, we're not the highest and we're not the lowest. We're definitely the middle in terms of fees, but you get what you pay for, we think. And if things don't get done on time, we're right down the street, so you know where to find us.
Yeah, that's right.
Cool. Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
appreciate it.
Oh my
Thank you so
goodness,
much.
absolutely. That's great. What do you think about that?
Good.